Schoology discussions are a great way to get kids and other staff members collaborating together. Discussions aren't just with text. They can be with videos, images, and they can go from one teacher to another teacher's courses, or in all of your sections. They can all communicate together. So I'm going to try and get you some of the basics here of discussions. To do this, I'm going to go into a course, this test course right here, and I'm going to build one right in my materials section by going to add materials and add discussion. There I'm going to give it a title and I'm going to give it a description. And again, you have all this rich text editing. You can drop a video in there and have a discussion about a video. You can drop a picture in there and have a discussion about that picture. So this area here, best practice is to make it as media rich and specific as possible. You can have a discussion date be completely open, or you can drop in a due date for a discussion. You can enable grading also and say, hey, a kid is going to get 10 points for participating in this discussion. If you do that and leave it ungraded, their scores won't show up in a grade book, or it will show up in a grade book, but it won't have any numerical value. But you can always create a new category or use one that you're already doing, discussions, or discussion, or class participation. It's a great way to quantify class participation, as in discussions. So in here, you can have a numeric or A and B grading scale, or you can use any of the rubrics you have created. Now, when I look at a discussion, I can individually assign this to Becky, Joe, and Todd, and they can have their own, or I could have grading groups where I'm assigning them to groups of kids. So discussions don't have to be just for the whole class. I can assign learning objectives. I can lock down so no one can talk in the discussion anymore after a certain period of time. I can hide it from students or make it visible to students. I can also make it so that members can see other responses by default, so they can just jump into a discussion, read everything, then say stuff, and that's certainly appropriate in many situations. Or I can turn this button on and say, hey, you cannot see any discussions until you post something. Then I can also say, hey, if I want them segregated into different sections or courses, I can click this button here and say, hey, have the same with discussion with each of my other sections. Again, you can also do a shared discussion. But if you can't do a shared discussion if it's graded, so I have to turn this off, and now I can do a shared discussion amongst all of my other sections. That's just something to note. Shared discussions cannot be graded. When I'm done, I'm going to hit create. Now this won't be very exciting. If I go into my discussion here, we have a few buttons. As this discussion fills up, you can expand all and see what everyone's saying, or you can collapse them all so that you don't get all the replies to the replies to the replies. You can also scroll to the top once you're all the way down. And if you have a bunch of students in here, you can use this button here, select it, and choose a student. The rest will go gray, and you'll just be able to see that student. Grading options are going to be on the left or on the right side, and those should be fairly obvious to you. The last bit about Schoology discussions would be this. Some teachers want their kids to say something of a certain high quality before dropping into a discussion. So they want to actually curate the discussion. To do that, you can go into course options and turn on moderate posts. After clicking enable moderation, are you sure? Yes. All your kids' posts are going to be listed here, and you have to individually approve them before being thrown into a discussion. That definitely has some use. Moderating your kids' posts can raise the quality level of what they're trying to say.